Welcome to your gentle session. Today in our class we're putting a focus on heart opening postures, starting the class in supported fish and doing lots of work to kind of open up and allow that radiance of the heart to shine vibrantly. And we're going to finish the practice today with a loving kindness meditation, which I think is something we could all benefit from at the moment. If you have a bolster, grab that. That will be helpful in the practice. Otherwise, sturdy cushions from your lounge or your pillows might be helpful. And a block would be good, or you could use a good solid book instead. Hope you enjoy. We're going to begin in a supported fish pose. So what we want to do coming into this is bring the end of the bolster right up against your pelvis and then recline back on it and have your knees bent. So if you're using cushions or your bed pillows, you might want to just kind of scoop them into a bit more of a roundness under the back, because we're looking to really open the heart in this pose. So closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And just taking a moment to really settle in, to just let go of all the distractions, of all the 10,000 things, letting everything just sit by the side of the mat. Giving yourself this time to be right here for your practice. And just noticing how the body is this morning. Noticing where you might be feeling a sense of gripping or holding in your body. Noticing where there are places that feel kind of spacious and open. Just being aware that opposites are always there in your body, and welcoming everything about how you are physically, just as it is. Connecting to your breathing now. Noticing the air as it moves into your lungs and noticing the quality of each exhale. And as you're breathing out each time, just notice if you might be able to let go of a little bit more of your breath so that you really empty the lungs out. And witnessing the little pauses in your breathing too, at the top of your inhalation and at the end of your exhalation. Becoming really present to the 4 parts of your breathing. It's very easy for us just to notice the movements of the breath, the air going in and the air going out. But when we stop to acknowledge and be present in the pauses in between, we really get the chance to start to slow the breathing down and to settle the nervous system right down. Find a little bit more connection to that stillness that's already there inside you. When you're ready now, let's drop the knees open wide and bring the soles of your feet together in supported butterfly pose. Just dropping the shoulders open a little more, palms to the ceiling. And as you're breathing in, letting softness fill the abdomen, soft into the hip creases, into the inner thighs. And every time you're breathing out, imagine that exhale can start right at the base of the pelvic floor, the hip points coming together and the bottom ribs coming together as you let the breath go. And expanding into softness as you breathe in again, prana nourishing every cell in the body, the heart opening, the breath full and expansive. Taking one more round of breath here. And then take an inhalation. And as you exhale now, let's bring the knees back together again. take your arms a little wider now, a little bit less than shoulder height. And then we're going to drop the knees over to the right side, taking this nice and gently, not forcing anything. And curling that left shoulder around the back of your bolster a little, really opening up into the left side of the rib cage as you're breathing in. And you might choose to gaze to the ceiling, or you might direct your gaze to the left, paying attention, as we do when we practice yoga. Every shape we make is this opportunity to really connect with exactly how you're feeling today. And every single time we arrive on the yoga mat, we're different from the time before. Yoga gives us this chance to be present to how our bodies are, how our minds are, and our hearts are every time. Direct your gaze to the fingers of the left hand now. Let's breathe in here. And then as you exhale, send your arm into the air, crossing over the body to the right side. It might reach your right shoulder or upper arm. Inhale and send the arm back to the left. So exhaling, crossing it over the body. And inhaling, opening it out wide to the left side again. Taking 2 more rounds of this, keeping your gaze on your fingertips as they move through space. And when your arms come to that outstretched position again, let's bring the knees back to center. And then we'll take our knees over to the left side now. Again, taking that movement into the twist really gently. And you might gaze to the ceiling, you might gaze to the right. Let's wrap the right shoulder around the bolster a little more, opening into the right side of the rib cage. Lengthening out to the ends of your fingertips. And then letting the gaze settle on the fingers of the right hand. Breathe in here. And then as you exhale, send the right arm into the air, crossing over the body to the left side. And opening the arm out wide again as you breathe in. Sending it over the body as you exhale. And back to the right side as you breathe in. Taking 2 more rounds. The gaze on the fingertips as the hand moves through space, and not getting ahead of the movement either. Just being present with each moment of the movement. When you get to that outstretched arm position again, let's bring the knees back to center. You might like a little rocking of the knees side to side just to ease things out. And from here, gently bring yourself to the right side, and we'll just take the bolster out now, popping that to the side for a moment. So still on the back, let's set up for a desk pose now. A little space between the feet, and we press into the 3 points of support in each foot. Pressing evenly through the hands, the upper arms, the shoulders, the forearms, making a lovely strong base of support for the pose. When you inhale next, raise your hips and your chest into the air, taking your arms overhead or wide. Begin your exhalation and then gently roll yourself down, little by little returning to the starting position, pressing into the earth. Breathe in, lifting the hips and the chest into the air, the arms overhead or wide. Start to exhale and then lower yourself back down again. So moving in and out of your desk pose, see if you can be present with each vertebra as you come into the shape and as you're coming out of the shape, and just paying attention to the way your spine is moving today. There are parts that are going to be moving in groups of vertebra. There are parts that might move a little freely of each other. When you come into your next desk pose elevation, let's hold there. We're going to bring the arms back down by the side of the body, clasping your hands behind your back and walking your shoulders in a little. Pressing right into the feet and firing up the calves, the thighs, the glutes, the abdominal wall. Really letting the heart expand and breathing into the side ribs now. Keeping the neck and the jaw nice and soft, even perceiving softness between the teeth and the tongue. Sharing the load of the pose really evenly through the body. Take one more inhalation here. And then when you exhale, let's really gently roll down, little by little. Lift your feet off the mat. Give your knees a nice squeeze, maybe a little rock or a little roll. You might even like to curl up a little. Come back to center when you're ready. And let's get the block now. And if you're not using a block, you might grab a sturdy book or two, something nice and solid. And we're going to position the block directly under the bony mass of the pelvis. So it's nowhere near the lower back. It is actually under the bones here. You might like this shorter edge of the block if you're a little bit taller. You can use the middle edge of the block if that feels better for you. I think that's what I might do today. That's what I'm feeling like. And let's drop the shoulders open and we'll make a really strong connection now with the back of the shoulders, the upper arms, forearms and the palms to the mat. And again, nice and soft through the jaw and the neck here. When you're ready, lift your toes off the mat, letting your feet just dangle, taking a moment to kind of play into that sense of your center of gravity here. You might choose to stay as you are with the feet dangling in our supported inversion, or perhaps you might like to send your legs up into the air today. We can either choose to point the toes or flex the feet, and you'll notice when you play with both options, the muscles in your legs are going to be giving you different information. When your feet are flexed, you're going to get more through the hamstrings and the back of the calves. When you point your toes, you'll probably feel a bit more in your quads and in the sides of the calves. So choosing what feels like a good fit for you today. These inversions give us the opportunity to welcome another perspective. To not necessarily let go of the world that we know and the perspective that we hold, but to allow ourselves the opportunity to see things a little differently, maybe to see through somebody else's eyes. And to do that with kindness, as everything we do in our yoga practice. Framing everything we do with ahimsa, with non-violence, with being gentle with ourselves, with our thoughts, with our responses, and with the people around us. Let's take one more round of breath here in our supported inversion. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, just hovering here for a moment. And then we'll let the feet find the floor again. Lift your hips up and we'll remove the block now. Let's send the legs back into the air now, taking happy babies. So you might like to take a hold of your feet or your ankles. You might hold behind your calves or behind your thighs. It doesn't really matter. Let's get some separation between the feet though, and get a sense of really pressing the back down very evenly on the floor. So really imagining you can flatten the back out, opening out the shoulders towards the floor, even sensing a broadening through the back of the pelvis towards the floor. Belly button to spine. Breathing tension out of the body every time you let the breath go. And just checking that you have breathed it all out, that there isn't just a little more of that exhale you can offer up. When you're ready, let's roll over to the right side and we'll come up onto hands and knees now. Setting up in cat pose on all fours. Lengthening out from the top of the head to the tailbone, drawing the belly to the spine. Let's breathe in cat, and then as you exhale, move to cow pose, tucking the chin and tailbone under. Return to cat pose, this time lifting the gaze, sending the heart forward. And as you exhale, move to child's pose, letting all of your breath go, finding the pause at the end of the exhale. Returning to cat again, find neutral. Moving to cow as you exhale. Return to cat again, lifting your gaze this time. And then moving on to child's pose, letting all your breath go. As you breathe in this time, let's come right up and onto the knees, taking the arms wide. As you exhale, taking a twist towards the right, the arms open wide. Come back to center again, the arms wide, and then twisting to the left now. Take your arms high, like the shape of a V overhead. And then when you exhale next, take the hands behind the hips in our modification of camel pose now. We're kind of pressing the pelvis forward, lifting the heart and sending it forward. And rather than dropping the head right back, let's keep a little length through the back of the neck and really open up through the throat. Inviting clarity in our communications, inviting an expansive heart-forward day, and letting those two things be intrinsically linked. Big wide hearts and clear thoughts and words. Breathe in again, raise the arms up. And then let's fold forward now, arriving back in your cat pose. Take an inhalation here, and then exhale to child's pose, letting all your breath go. Return to cat again when you're ready. Exhale to cow. Come back to cat, lifting your gaze, and then moving on to child's pose again. Breathe in and come right up onto your knees. Take your arms wide. And then when you exhale, let's twist towards your left now, arms wide. Take your arms wide again, returning to center, twisting to the other side. Return to center again and bring your arms high to a V shape overhead. Sweep the arms behind the body now, taking the hands behind the pelvis to our camel modification again, lifting the heart, sending it forward, opening up through the throat and long through the back of the neck. Clear thoughts, clear words, an expansive heart. Breathe in now and raise your arms high. We're going to float the hands down to the mat again, arriving in cat pose. And then from here, keeping your hips right over your knees, let's walk the hands forward, coming into heart melting pose now. You might bring your forehead down to the mat, or you might like to rest your forehead on a block or a book. And allowing the heart to come closer and closer to the mat each time you breathe out. Welcoming your inhalations into the side ribs and dropping the heart to the floor each time you breathe out. And then from here, let's come onto the tummy again, and we'll get the bolsters back onto the mat if you're using your bolster today. So let's position the bolster under the rib cage for our supported Sphinx pose today. We want to take the elbows directly under the shoulders. The hands come forward of that, so you're making quite a square shape in front of the body. And we have a little separation between the feet, but let's inch the toes away from the crown so we're getting a sense of traction in the spine. So let's draw the elbows in towards the bolster, and at the same time ease the fingertips to the top of the mat so we're getting a sense of tractioning through the forearms, lengthening up from the tailbone right through to the crown, and then long from the tailbone to the heels. See if you can imagine broadening your collarbones and allowing the heart to expand in every direction. Taking this pose that is the guardian of your heart. Keeping it safe and strong and nourished. And you might choose to stay in your Sphinx pose, or if you want to move to seal, let's externally rotate the hands so the thumb tips are facing the top end of the mat. Straightening out the arms somewhat. There's still a little softness in the elbows. Keeping the collarbones broad, throat open. Inviting clear communication. Inviting an expansive heart. And a sense of playfulness and joy into the day. And then when you're ready, let's bring ourselves back down. We'll wrap the arms around each other now and rest your head on your forearms, or you might take a little prayer position in front of the forehead. And just let your head rest there if that's more comfortable. I seem to have a ginger pussycat on my back right now. So I'm going to move very gently into the neck shape. Let's bend the knees. Leaving your arms as they are. We're just going to zigzag the knees, the feet rather, side to side. A little twisting motion through the lower spine. And when your feet come over to the left side next time, let's leave them there for a little bit. You might even encourage them a little further to that side. And then return to center when you're ready. And we'll take the feet over to the right side and stay there a little bit. Perhaps easing them over to that side just a little more. And then bringing your feet back to center again. Let them find the mat. And now I'm going to have to disturb you, Ruby. I'm sorry. Let's come onto the back now. And we're just going to finish our physical part of the practice with a little Apanasana to bring the body back to symmetry, starting with the hands on the knees. Inhale, sending the knees and the feet away. Begin your exhale and bring your knees into the chest. And you might choose to also send your arms wide as the legs go away. Wrap the arms around the body as you bring it all back in. Imagine you can give yourself a big hug each time you're bringing your arms to wrap around the body, nourishing yourself, extending yourself kindness and empathy. Just letting this one be your final round. And And then for our guided meditation, you might choose to come back to your lying position as we were at the beginning of the class, with the bolster underneath the back. And again, you'll bring the end of the bolster right up to the pelvis and bend the knees, letting the shoulders drop open. That's an option. Or another option would be to have the bolsters under your leg if you don't have a ginger pussycat there taking up that space. But just getting yourself nice and comfortable and dropping the shoulders open, the palms facing the ceiling. Letting go of the physical practice now and letting go of guiding your breath. And imagine you can now drop right into your own heart. See yourself walking down a spiral staircase into the depths of your own heart. And sitting yourself down and knowing that every time your heart is beating and your lungs are breathing, that you're nourishing yourself, that you're looking after you. Calling to mind the people who matter most to you. Imagine you can sit with their energy in your heart as well. And imagining the words from my mouth are your words now. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Offering the same gift to the people who matter most to you. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And from this position of being safe and comfortable in your own heart, you might call to mind somebody or somebodies who are challenging you or have hurt you. And where the relationships might not be all they could be right now. And offering them this blessing too. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they be safe. May they live with ease. And knowing that your heart has this limitless resource of love, of empathy, and of kindness. Sending this blessing to all people and all sentient beings across the planet. May we all be happy. May we all be healthy. May we all be safe. May we all live with ease. And as you sit comfortably in your own heart, wrapped up in its radiance, in its light, remembering that this resource of kindness, of empathy and of love is limitless, always accessible. And any time you choose to come into that quiet space of your breathing and drop into your heart again, it will just keep unfolding and multiplying in front of you so that you can draw it up to yourself as a resource and you can share it around. When you're ready, allowing yourself to now be present in your senses, hearing the sounds in your space, feeling the temperature of the air against your skin, feeling your own heart beating and being a witness again to the expansion of breath in your body. Taking a little movement with your fingers and toes. When you're ready, roll over to the right side and take a few moments there. And we'll find our way to a comfortable position to finish the class. You might be kneeling or cross-legged or legs out front. It doesn't matter. We'll meet with our hands at Anjali Mudra at the heart space. All the fingertips in connection and drawing the base of the hands into the sternum, connecting to the root of the heart. And when you breathe in next, blossoming the fingers open wide to Padma Mudra, Lotus Mudra. Seeing your heart's radiance glow so brightly. Looking down into that resource of kindness, of empathy and of love. Limitless. For you, for the people you love, for the people that challenge you, and for every sentient being on the planet. Closing the fingers up now. Thank you for practicing with me this morning. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.